Hello, hello. Welcome to Media Queen TV. We have the amazing Jon Saleswarrior with us all the way from Dallas, Texas today. Now, Jon is a motivational speaker. He's a sales guru with 34 years of professional speaking experience. He's an author and he hosts an international comedy podcast where I was recently a guest called Schools Out 80. So we had a whole lot of fun on that. Absolutely love that show. Been going for 3 years now. Welcome, Jon.
Awesome. Aldwyn, thank you so much for having me on. So
My
much fun.
pleasure. My pleasure. It's great to have you on. And you actually reached out to me on the socials. So obviously the social media must be working because you reached out and said, I'd love to interview you. And then I thought, well, I'd love to interview you back. So here we are. We're doing a beautiful
Sure.
exchange here of our interviews. And so, Jon, could you let us know a bit of your background? How did you get into sales? 34 years is a long time to be in sales. How did you get into it in the first place?
Absolutely. So I was in professional purchasing, and nothing wrong with professional purchasing, but I just saw where I was kind of stymied with the type of income that I was going to make. And when you're in professional purchasing, you're working with salespeople that are driving nice cars. And so I'm a logical minded person. So it was easy for me to kind of put two and two together that, hey, maybe I need to be on the other side of the table.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's obviously paid off because 34 years, that's longer than a lot of marriages has lasted, I'd say, Jon. So,
I've outlasted a lot of marriages. Absolutely.
you have. And welcome to all those joining us live right now. I can see the beautiful Sonia from Bali. Good morning, Sonia. It says Anita Sonia, but she likes to be called Sonia. So, good
Okay.
morning, pretty lady. Great to have you here. I'll be at her live streaming summit later this year in Bali. Can't wait for that. Good to see you.
Awesome.
And for all those joining us live, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch right now, please pop in the comments. Let us know where you're from and what's one thing you're grateful for today. Let's start with some gratitude today. What's one thing you are grateful for today? Let us know in the comments. Love to hear from you. And we do like to make this interactive with our Media Queen TV shows. So if you have any questions, comments as we go along in the next hour, I'd love to share your questions and comments with Jon as well. Anything around sales. Today's topic, of course, is a very powerful one. I think that a lot of people could really utilize how to build rapport to boost your business. Now, of course, for a lot of people, sales is a dirty word, isn't it, Jon? It's a dirty word. It's something that a lot of people don't like sales, yet actually most of what we do at any time is sales, right? Even if it's you want to take someone out on a date, then you need to in some way sell them or invite them to actually want to come along with you on the ride, whichever way you want to go with it, right? So, Jon, can you share a little bit about why is sales a dirty word for a lot of people and how can we shift this perspective?
Bad experiences, I'm sure. Anytime we say, hey, it's a dirty word, it's because people have had bad experiences. The reason they've had bad experiences is because people are poorly trained.
Yes, people are poorly trained. So, and also I think because there's a lot of dodgy people out there that have been selling people things
Oh, yeah.
that they don't want or they don't need, and a lot of people feel pressure, and when they feel pressure to buy things, they buy things and they get the buyer's remorse that happens, and then they blame the people that just sold them the thing for why they bought the thing. And there's a lot of sort of manipulative tactics when it comes to sales, I've found over time. A lot of manipulative tactics. And so what are some of the things you've noticed, Jon, in America? I would imagine, they're pretty gung-ho over there with their sales tactics sometimes. I know that I've bought a lot of things from American companies that, that sometimes I have regretted myself. And, not just American companies, but right across the world. However, the Americans are very confident with what they do, and they can be very, what's the word? Very engaging, very, I don't like to use the word manipulative, but there are definitely some manipulative tactics out there with all salespeople that have happened over time. And I think a lot of network marketing companies where people, have been told one thing and then, next thing they know, they're in on a sales pitch with something that they just didn't need. And that's the thing is I look at it as sales is service. Sales is service when you actually have something that's going to really help someone. And if you don't have something that's going to really help someone, then you should ideally refer them somewhere else. So Jon, back to you on this topic. So
Yeah.
what else? Yeah, what else do you think about that?
Well, people have bad experiences again because people are poorly trained. Many times it's because the companies are not giving the proper vision to the salespeople. And if you're truly solving a problem for somebody, then it shouldn't be a dirty word, so to speak. It should be a comfortable, rewarding experience where you did such a good job of uncovering the need for the customer or the client, and that should lead to referrals. It shouldn't be you had a bad experience. And with that said, like, bad experiences do not lead to future business. Like, you got to
Yes.
make it, you got to make it a good experience. It's like a first date. you know, that's the way people got to think about it. Like, is sales a bad thing? Is dating a bad thing? Sure, there's some bad dates, but there's some great dates. And what separates that is the process and the connection. And that's what I want to talk about is rapport building, because when you build rapport, you will truly uncover what needs to be solved. And you'll do it in such a way that they will thank you for doing it. And you'll end up doing a huge amount of business if done properly.
Totally agree. And yeah, if you don't build rapport on your first date, you ain't getting no second date, right? And in fact, if you don't build rapport even online, for those that are online dating or those who have been online dating, if you're not building rapport online, you're not going to even get to the first date, right? When you start chatting.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
so Sonia says, what's the relationship between sales and marriage? I don't understand. Okay, well, I'll let you answer that one.
Well, so marriage is like a commitment, right? That's like a long-term contract. We're talking about dating, you know. So sales is where somebody parts with monetary value for a product or a service. And in order for them to part with the monetary value, they have to feel like they're getting value. And if you spend time truly uncovering what they want, and it's a good fit for them, then they'll part with more money than they thought they would part with. And
Yes.
and that's the way to think about it. But all this happens, like, people are not going to trust you to truly find out what they want or need unless you build rapport. And rapport starts with high level information. It starts with just basic high level information, like when you're speed dating, as an example, like where you from, that kind of thing. And you got to, like, break the ice. And that's the beginning of rapport. But true rapport doesn't come into play until you have connection. It's all about connection. And the best way to understand rapport for people who are trying to understand it is think about the people that mean the most to you. And it can be your family, and it can be your friends. And ask yourself, what was that moment that I was hanging out with and or a family member or a friend, when it hit me that I feel close to them? And that's what rapport is. Rapport is connection. It's closeness. You got to feel like they remind you of somebody, or you remind. There has to be some kind of connection.
All right.
And when there is not a connection, there is not rapport. There's a business relationship, but there's not rapport.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
sorry about that. My dog's trying to create rapport with my son. In dog language, but she's trying to do the best she can from her standpoint. She's trying to create rapport.
As we say in Australia, she's trying to put her 2 bobs worth in as well, right?
Yes, and truly care about the people you're trying to sell to. If you truly care about the people you're trying to sell to, and it's authentic, people will understand that it's authentic. You will make a true connection, and with the true connection comes trust. And with trust, people will spend money with people they trust. People will spend money with people they trust and people they like. And like, here's an example, Aldwyn. I cared enough before our interview today to really research you, more so than I had done when you were on my podcast. So I spent time today, like, listening to multiple shows that you had been in, and finding out like details about, what's important to you. And most people, when they're in a sales process, they don't care enough to research their prospects. And when you don't care enough to research their prospects, guess what? Somebody else is going to sell to them.
So true. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And, you might have heard that, we like to do business with people we know, like, and trust. However, I think more so now, it's even the people we know, love, and trust. Like, I think even more so now, people need, it's almost like people need more evidence of why they should do business with you, because I think particularly through COVID, we've seen a flood of new coaches and mentors and people on the market that are now like, I'm the expert in this. So people think, well, who the hell am I going to work with? And in fact, I just had someone actually last week that had said to me, she'd been following me for years online, and she wanted to work with me for years to do some media work together. And
Nice.
after 10 years, I saw her out at an event, and she said, right now is the time. She said, now I'm ready. And so she joined our Mass Media Mastery program, and now we're working together. And on our first session, she said, that's exactly what I needed, right? And see, that's the thing, is that, a lot of people, when they're trying to sell, they want the sale straight away. They've got no patience, right? And so how can you deliver lots and lots of value over time that, people are watching you, people are stalking you, right? And you might not know it. You might, like, I didn't know you did a whole lot of research on me before the show, right? So now I'm sure you have a different opinion of me now that you've done all that extra research, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. But it's all good. I mean, that's what it's about. Like, the key is professionally selling and professionally gaining rapport, not novice gaining rapport, professionally gaining rapport. Professionals do the work needed to act at a higher level, plain and simple.
Yes.
Like, we had talked before, but like, you're in Queensland, right?
Yeah.
And you're on the Gold Coast.
That's correct.
Of Australia.
Yes.
You have a background in media.
Yes.
You have a cat named Tiger.
Yes, I do.
Like, how many people know you have a cat named Tiger?
Oh, exactly. Our Tiger, he's beautiful too. I don't know. He's probably sleeping somewhere with another female cat somewhere. Exactly. Yeah, thank you. See, and that now automatically you've just built rapport with me, because like, oh my gosh, Jon knows I've got a cat called Tiger, which is
I mean, how many people know you have a cat named Tiger? Well, you might not know I have a dog named Roxy, but I shouldn't say that so loud. She might come and sit in my lap, and she's a very big dog.
Roxy. And what kind of dog is your dog?
My dog is a lab whippet mix.
Lab whippet mix.
Yes. So a whippet is a greyhound. It's a small greyhound. So she is very fast, very smart, and very emotional.
Oh, Roxy. What a beautiful name.
I don't know where she gets the emotion from. Maybe it's because she's a female, but she gets her feelings hurt very easily. She misses everybody, even if there are 4 people in my house, or I'm sorry, if there are 3 people home and 1 person missing, she goes around the house crying where they are.
Oh, little darling. Oh, yes. I have a big soft spot for animals. I love animals. And
I know, and I knew that about you too. You're involved in an animal rescue event that you actually started yourself. And how many years has that been going?
Yeah, well, Animal Action Day, I actually started the world's first Animal Action Day back in 2007. We've done 16 annual events now, raising awareness, appreciation, and respect for animals, raising money for different animal causes every year. And now I'm looking to set up my own foundation as a community foundation, because one of my goals is to have an animal sanctuary, have a retreat space, and actually take that next level as well, and actually involve the community in a self-sustainable farm setup where we have people come back and connect with nature and connect with animals and actually appreciate how beautiful the world is. So yes, awesome. That's all part of the big vision. And thank you for saying that, because the thing is that we're all passionate about something, right? We're all passionate about something. And when you can find out from people, what are they passionate about? That's a great way to build rapport, right? And to
absolutely. And you know, that's just the beginning. Like some people think that they have rapport when you know something about somebody else. That's not rapport. That's, you know, something about somebody else, but that's not rapport.
Mm.
Rapport would be, hey, Aldwyn, your cat Tiger is exactly like a cat that my neighbor had growing up. The same color, seems to have the same temperament. And in my neighbor growing up, she actually had 9 cats.
Wow.
Like not one cat, 9 cats.
Wow.
And we used to put them in a circle, my brother and I, and we put little bowls of cat food around, and we'd put a golf ball between all the cats, and the cats would hit the golf ball back and forth between each other. Does
Oh,
your cat Tiger ever play with a golf ball?
actually, no, but I mean, he's 15 now. I got him when he was 1, and
Oh, okay, yeah,
he used to love the balls of wool. We used to when he was a baby. So we had things
right.
like that, and he used to love anything that had a string hanging down. He'd love to sort of play with his paw, and he loves sort of long stringy things. So he used to love that once upon a time. But nowadays at 15, he's a bit more chilled. He's beautiful, loving cat now. He had high anxiety when I got him.
Oh
He'd been abused.
no.
He'd been attacked by dogs, he'd been left alone, and
Oh.
now he's the most loving, beautiful cat you could ever see. It's just absolutely adorable.
Okay, so
So
there you go, Aldwyn. So we had a dog that we rescued, a puppy. About a, you know, I say a puppy. I think the dog was actually 3 years old, so it wasn't quite a puppy, but it had been abused,
oh,
and we spent a good 6 months just giving that dog tender loving care, TLC, and it came around. Like it took him a long time to like break down the defenses, which is important when we
yeah,
talk about rapport building. Like we had to build
yes,
rapport with that dog. That
mm,
dog had to trust us. It had been
yes,
abused. And like a lot of people that are, you know, possibly going to buy something from you, you know, they've been abused by other salespeople or other people trying to sell them stuff. And so they have defenses up. And so you know, I'm going to use a lot of analogies, but when you approach a dog and the dog is, you know, been abused, the worst thing you can do is try to pet that dog. That dog does not want to be petted, just like people don't want to be closed. People do not want you to immediately ask them to buy something. People
yes.
want you to share that you care about them. And then you got to make a connection with them, like an authentic connection. And then you have to approach the animal, or you know, the client. I'm using this as an analogy, but you cannot like be overpowering and raise your hand and put your hand on top of their head and start petting them. Good puppy. No, you got to come humbly and put your hand underneath the dog's mouth and let the dog decide if he wants to lick your hand. And customers and prospects are kind of the same way. They are trying to figure out if you're safe or not. And if you're safe, they might move a little bit. And if you're not safe, they will cower. And or just, you know, next. Does all this like ring home? I hope these
Oh,
analogies are good.
oh, yes, absolutely. I love that. And the thing is, some human beings don't like to be touched either because they've been traumatized, they've been raped, they've had situations like that. So some people
Absolutely. Yeah.
don't like to be hugged, and then others love to hug. And so everyone's different, right? So it's really, to build rapport, you need to know what someone likes. And in fact, to ask for a hug rather than just going and hugging someone straight away. Some people, like my mum, hugs everyone, she just loves it. But then
Right.
she's starting to get dementia, so she's like acting like a 3-year-old at the moment. She loves everyone, which is beautiful in some ways. But she's sort of
Right.
in her own world a lot of the time. My beautiful mother, and so
Oh,
ideally for those that are fully aware right now and fully here. Well, I guess Mum is fully here in many ways, but her memory's starting to go. Um,
oh.
But, yeah, which is hard. However, she's thankfully she's not a grumpy lady in any way. She's the most loving, beautiful person. And some people don't like to be hugged. Some people don't like to be touched. Some people, it takes some time, as you say, to build that rapport, that people feel comfortable enough to do that. And often it's because of some trauma or some hurt in the past where they have closed off. They've closed off emotionally,
Right.
physically, mentally. And some people, the minute they can smell that you're trying to sell them something, they'll be like, oh, you're trying to sell, they'll just switch off straight away, right? Whereas, asking quality questions is always a great thing to do. Ask quality questions, really get to know people and what they like, what they want. And it may be that if you don't have the solution for that person, refer them someone else. I do that all the time. I refer people all the time to other people for things. I'm not an expert in all things, and I don't want to work with all people. Some people come to me, I don't want to work with them, so I'll refer them to someone else. So, there has to be that rapport to want to work with people too, particularly in your own business, where thankfully we can choose who we want to work with. We can choose our clients, right? When we're selling high ticket offers, as I am selling mostly high ticket offers. So I'm working with my clients, for example, the Mass Media Mastery Program. It's a lifetime access program. Once people come into the community, they are family. I'm looking after them for my lifetime. Of course, I say lifetime access. For as long as I'm alive, I'll be looking after those people. Right? That's how I like to work. Whereas other people, they have programs which after 1 year, you've then got to pay more, and then you've got to pay more. And, otherwise you get kicked out of the Facebook group. And I don't like doing things that way. That's not my style, right? And I know for some people might say, well, that's not a good business decision because you need to keep charging people every year for things to make it sustainable. However, there's other offerings that you'll have, etc., that you could offer those people. There might be workshops or masterclasses or other things that are separate to the program that people may want to buy. But as for members of the program, they get lifetime access. So that's how I like to work. So what are some other ways to build rapport, Jon?
Yeah, just understanding body language, I think, is important. Um, that is key, so that you understand that like what you're saying is well received. But I want to really drive home the fact that it's all about connection and commonality. Like, because you had mentioned, for instance, that your mom is having memory issues. My mom's having memory issues. My mom's actually in assisted living because of her memory issues. Is your mom still living on her own?
Well, she lives with my dad. They've been together 53 years this year. My
Oh,
dad
yeah.
is her full-time carer. We are refusing to put her into a home because I
Okay.
don't know about in America, but in Australia, there's not the best conditions for people in nursing homes here.
Right. Yeah.
And I would not do that to my mum, as much as it can be hard sometimes, because dad sometimes has to actually shower her or take her in. Like sometimes, she's in her own
Okay.
world.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
totally in her own world. And it is challenging for him. However, it keeps him on his toes. There's never a dull moment with my mum. So I guess in some ways he's 85, she's 79.
Oh,
And
okay. So similar in age to my parents, because my
right,
mom's 82, um, and my dad, had he lived, would have been like 84, but my stepdad's actually 94.
wow,
Yeah.
amazing.
But the key is like we have relatability because you have aging parents, I have aging parents, and yeah, so it's similar, right? So and that's like how you make a connection. You have to find similarity, and I want to drive this home for your people, but uh, don't feel like you have to be exactly like your prospect. You do not have to be. I'm not saying you have to be exactly like your prospect, but you have to be able to demonstrate that you know people like your prospect, and those people like you. Like,
Yes,
you
absolutely.
might not be an electrical engineer, but one of your really good friends is an electrical engineer, and you understand what it takes to be an electrical engineer. And that's just an example. But what I'm trying to say is I don't want people to feel like you can't do business with somebody unless you're exactly like that individual.
Yeah.
You have to appeal to that individual, but you don't have to be exactly like them. We're not trying to create clones in the business world. Um,
No. Yeah, I agree. Totally.
but you got to have relatability. I mean, it's just so simplistic. And if you're trying to understand like what Aldwyn and I are sharing with you right now, just think back to the people that are close to you that you have relatability. Think of your best friend. If it's your best friend now or your best friend from 10 years ago, whoever your best friend is, and ask yourself this question: why are they my best friend? Or why were they my best friend? Or who's my best friend right now? And why is that the case? And then try to walk yourself through that initial time period when each of you were like going through that process of question and discover. You know, these are think about like the first time you ever met your best friend. What was that aha moment that you went from being, um, you know, non-connected to connected? What was that aha moment? And think more importantly, like the process. You probably started high level, you know, like maybe you were in the same class together. So you immediately had commonality, but maybe, and I'm just giving examples, Aldwyn, but maybe you found out that you both like to draw, or you found out that you both liked Star Wars films, or you found out that you both liked math. I don't know what it was, why you're best friends with somebody. That's not my job. I'm trying to explain to you how to create rapport. And the best way to create anything is you already have it. It's almost like you think back to Wizard of Oz and in The Lion, right? And the whole time he was searching for courage. I got to see the wizard. I got to have courage. That's right, isn't it? Courage. That's what the lion wanted, was courage. Does that sound right, Aldwyn?
Yes, that's right. Yes, the
Okay.
lion wanted courage. Yeah.
And what did the wizard tell him?
I can't remember actually. What did the wizard tell him?
I think he put like a heart around him, and he said, you have had, like, he explained to him all the points of like when the Wicked Witch came out, and he showed him and he demonstrated to him all the points that he had courage. And what I tell your people is, you know how to create rapport. You just maybe don't know, you haven't gone through the steps of understanding how you've created rapport in the past, but you have rapport. There are people that are important to you that you connect with. What you don't know how to do maybe is to do it with a complete stranger. And that's what I teach people how to do. And that's why I have a master class in a book.
Yes, true. It's often, for a lot of people, I think it's very unconscious, this building rapport. And it's interesting question you ask about, your best friend. And often I think people say, oh, this is my best friend. And often that person is their best friend because they've known them over a long time period, right? They say, oh, we went to school together, or, and it's the time that can build trust, right? And because you don't invest your time with people that you don't like. If I think of the people in my life now I consider my best friends, they're all in business. We all have that in common, right?
Right.
We all have that in common, that we're all in business. Or I have people close to me that are creative in some way. They're performers, they're stunt people, they're people who are in the creative arts, because really what I do is the creative arts industry. So I tend to have a lot of authors, coaches, a lot of really interesting people come to my parties. And so for anyone who's been to my parties, you'll know there's always really interesting people there, because we all have that in common as well.
So Aldwyn, I want to give you an example of something that it's kind of a theory of mine, and I'm going to test it right now. But so when you think of a girlfriend of yours, and I'm going to put you like, do you remember who your girlfriends were in third grade?
In primary school, I did have a few back then, which I'm not still in touch with. One I am on Facebook, but I haven't spoken to for a while.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to still be in touch with them. But what I'm wondering, though, they were female, were they not, in third grade?
Yes, females.
Okay, because you had that in common.
Yes, we did. We were females.
Yes. Okay, so that's the beginning of rapport, commonality. Okay, now, and I'm going to tell you folks that, like, this isn't pre-planned or anything. Aldwyn, tell me, one of the girls that you were friends with in third grade in primary school, what was her name?
Jody.
What was her last name?
Jodie Agar. Jodie Agar. We're still on Facebook, actually. She's in Sydney still.
No, okay, so her last name, can you spell it for me?
Ager. Jodie Agar. Oh, we've got A in
Oh,
common.
yes, that's what I was trying to drive home. Now, you know why you're friends with this woman, this young woman?
Because their surname ended in A like mine did.
Well, in primary school, they always put you in lines alphabetically.
Oh, they
They do
did.
that in the United States.
They
And
did.
and it's for spelling tests. They put you in line alphabetically. And so you are friends with this young girl because of the close proximity that you had. You had time to talk to each other enough to create more connection. And the girl that had the last name of S, were you ever friends with somebody with the last name of S in the same grade?
Not that I can remember, no.
No, because they never lined you up together.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I never thought of this before. This is awesome.
There you go.
Actually,
I'm not just in sales, I'm also a psychological magician.
Unbelievable. I love it. And for those watching right now, please let us know, because I do have many friends now whose surnames, start with many different
right, of course, but you're not being lined up with those people.
No, we're not being lined up.
Like I thought about it before, and I'm like, so who is my best friend? So one of my best friends in grade school, his last name started with an O. And one of my best friends in high school, his last name started with an S, just like my last name. And one of my really best friends in middle school, his name started with a Z. And guess where they put the people whose names started with a Z?
Right at the end.
Right next to the people whose names started with an S. Just
right.
like you lined up. Okay, so who was your second girlfriend in third grade? What did her name start with?
Oh, actually, I didn't have two.
No, like her last name.
Actually, there was a girl called Kim Renshaw, but she was but then she was always with the trendy kids, because I always felt like a bit of an outcast growing up.
Okay.
So hers started with an R. So, but Jodie and I were very close. Jodie and I, we did a lot together, and yeah, and I was fairly shy back then too. I wasn't like I am now. But yeah, there was Kim. There was a lady called Michelle. I can't remember her last name now. I think it ended with X.
That's okay. Just so you had that one friend that had the A. That was what I was trying to drive home. So it's all about commonality and connection. And many times connection doesn't happen until you spend the time to create connection. And most salespeople, most people in business, they don't do the research and they don't spend the time that it takes to create true connection. And with true connection comes trust. And with trust comes business, and a lot of business, and a lot more business than you probably do today.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree there. Now, we've got some good comments here. We've got Sonia saying, I was scared of sales and marketing. Didn't know if I have to do it myself after it. Now I know why, because you've just said sales is a dirty word. Thank you, Sonia. Sonia loves to have a laugh. We have a mutual friend, actually, which is Willie. This isn't actually Willie, but this is like another version of it's part of Willie's family. So this one for you, Sonia, I'm going to be in Bali very soon, and I'm going to be bringing her a koala, part of Willie's family. So we have that in common. We have a good laugh about Willie, because Willie's got no Willie, you see. And Willie's koalas, that's why we call him Willie. Koalas sleep 20 hours a day. Did you know? They sleep 20 hours a day. They have quite the life.
Sounds like my Labrador Retriever. Okay.
And Vanessa's here. Hello,
so I want to help Sonia with sales.
Oh, yes. Sonia. Okay, let's go back to this. We'll come to Vanessa in a minute.
And it's all about like reframing the way you think. So if you're a CEO of a company, you know what you're worried about?
What are you worried about as a CEO?
Sales,
yes. And the team.
But do you know what people call it when the media talks about it? They don't talk about sales. You know what they talk about?
No. What do they talk about?
Business.
Oh, business.
Right. And what is business?
Business. Well, there's no business without any sales. Let's face it.
Exactly. So sales is not a dirty word. Sales is like being in the maternity ward. You just finally did some business. A baby was born.
Yeah.
You know, out of nothing comes a baby, and that baby is business. And guess what? You can't have accounting, you can't have marketing, you can't have promotions, you can't have a CEO or CFO. If you don't have sales, you don't have business. If you don't have business, you're out of business. So sales is not a dirty word. Uh, it's business.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Sales is business. And now I know why I haven't had any babies, because I haven't had any sex for a while. So there's been no business at the station. So that
You
doesn't
got to
help.
prospect. Yeah, you got to prospect and follow through with those prospects if if something's going to be created. But I'm just kind of jokingly saying that, like, sales is business. Business is so important, and things that people like have a lot of respect for, like doctors as an example, and lawyers. If they don't create revenue from their interactions with clients, then there is no business. And and sales occurs.
Exactly.
Whether people want to believe it or not, when a doctor comes in and gives you his opinion of your medical situation and says you need to have surgery, the process of moving from not having surgery to going in and having surgery, that is a service, and that service has been sold. And the lawyer that creates the will for the customer, or the lawyer that helps settle the estate for the family, or the lawyer that helps win the business litigation, before he does any of that, that client has to sign the dotted line and become a client, and that's sales.
Yes, it's all sales.
Yeah, and sales is not a dirty word. Sales is business. You cannot
Sales is
have
business.
business without sales. There's no such thing as business without sales. Plain and simple. You want to ruin a business, lower the sales. Look at Anheuser-Busch. I'm not Target. And I'm not saying anything negative about anybody in any other kind of sexual whatever. But what I'm saying though is that, like, when sales is bad, business is at risk for whatever reason. It could be that you know uh, these companies like Anheuser-Busch, let's say 80% of their breweries got a situation where there's a virus or something, and they can't produce beer for 3 months until because of the virus. So that's just an example, but sales is business, and business is sales. And if you want to do a lot of business, you better get good at sales. It's
And
so
then there's
simple.
the delivery after the sales, right? So talking
That's
about
the
building trust,
service, right?
service.
And that's why you got to be, like, committed to a vision, and that you have to authentically deliver the service. Like, you got to care about the value of what you deliver. And if you care about the value of what you deliver and you're truly a professional, uh, sales will not be difficult. Sales is not difficult to me at all.
Yeah,
At all.
absolutely. And I think
Um,
part of the reason why people say it's a dirty word, or why we think it's sales is no good, is because people don't like to be rejected, right? It's part of our human. The way we operate as humans is we want to be part of the group, and so sometimes we feel that if we're selling something that someone doesn't like and we're going to get a no, that we're going to have some rejection. And I just see you've just changed your hat on this one. And so
I did. There was a costume change.
costume change. Okay, so what's the significance of this hat you're wearing now, Jon?
It's relatability. Some people won't be able to relate to the captain's hat. Maybe they'll think I have a superiority complex. But but the bottom line is that you got to mirror to your market, right? And more people, and some people like this hat better than the other hat. I just like wearing hats.
I love it. That's very cool. We do wear many different hats, though, in our life and our business
We
often.
do.
And I think through all that, it's important to be authentic and to be truly yourself. And, you know, the thing is also when it comes to sales, people like to hear things in different ways. So some people really love all the data and the analytics around something. Some people, you know, are more sold on the big picture, the vision of what they're doing. Some people are more moved by emotion. And a lot of people say, well, if there's no feeling, then, you know, there's no healing. There's no healing when there's no feeling. And often people won't connect if you don't connect with them emotionally in some way. And so there's all
Aldwyn,
these
that is so
different
true.
things.
And that's a big proponent of rapport building. Rapport building is not sitting on the outside and trying to figure out how can I connect with that individual. Rapport building is truly listening to what the other individual is saying.
Yes, truly listening. So Vanessa says, I'm also scared of sales. So hopefully, Vanessa, with some of what we've been sharing now, hopefully that will help you overcome that. I just say sales is service. When you sell something that you fully believe in and you know it's going to change someone's life, you will be doing someone a disservice if you don't sell your product to them, because they're going to go somewhere else. They're going to find a lesser product, something that's not as good as yours. They're probably going to pay twice as much, and they're not going to get the service with the sale. So if you know that you are delivering something that's of high value, that is like nothing else out there on the market, and that won't be because no one else is you, right? You're bringing your unique flavor to what you're doing. And so, for example, there might be many other media trainers out there, but not everyone's going to relate to every other media trainer out there. Some are going to relate more to me, some are going to relate more to others, and that's okay, because my approach is that there's an abundance of business out there. There's an abundance of possibility when it comes to who we can work with. When you think of the 8 billion people on the planet, we don't all need 8 billion clients, right? We might only want 100 clients or 1,000 clients, depending on what it is we're selling. And when you've got a high ticket item, if you've got a 5, 10K or whatever item or more, you don't need 1 million clients necessarily, right? It's not about that. It's about
Right.
being of service. So thank you for sharing that, Vanessa. And you're definitely not alone with the scared of sales. I must say it's something I've resisted for a long time until I got that sales is service. It didn't quite click for me, because I hate rejection, right? I want everyone to like me, right? And it's a human condition, because we don't want to be expelled from the flock, because that's from a hindbrain perspective. It's the fight or flight. It's like we want to be part of a community. We want to belong. We want to be liked. And so it takes some resilience to actually get over that, I believe, when you are in a sales conversation, or when you're in any conversation where someone wants something, they have a problem, and you can serve that need, or you can't serve that need. And that's why I love people say to me, well, I'm not the best person for you, or this program's not right for you right now. I love it when people say that, because I think, well, that's great. They don't just want to sell me something. They actually do really care about what I'm, where I'm at and what I'm doing. And so I love that. Any other comments on that one, Jon?
Absolutely. So, you know what? First and foremost, I honor the fact that somebody is scared of selling. And I understand that, because there was a time in my life, particularly when I was in my early 20s, that I actually fought going into sales. Again, I was working as a professional purchasing agent. Um, and I also thought that, like, I'm too smart for sales. And that's not being egotistical. It's just like I got good grades in high school and college, and I thought I don't have to go into sales. Like, I can make good money without going into sales. But once I really started understanding business, I realized that in business, the people that sell are the people that make the most money, and I really wanted to make a lot of money. But what I want to get back to is, Vanessa, there are things that I am fearful of. There are things that I have overcome fear on. And the way I've been able to overcome those fears is becoming educated. And I'll give you an example. I became a boat captain, I think 3 years ago now. And quite honestly, I had been in boats a lot my entire life, and always had been in awe of people who were driving the boat. And I never really thought about driving the boat myself until I joined a boat club. And part of joining the boat club is driving the boat. So I had to become a boat captain. And in the way I got over my fear was, quite honestly, becoming educated on how a boat works, and and how you back a boat up and how you can be safe with a boat, and just learning how to play a defensive game. And that brings up a good point, and some people maybe believe this and some people won't, but business is a game. And I know everybody, like we talked about, like we get our feelings attached to what we do in life, and that's normal. We're human beings. We're not human doings. We're human beings. So it's the human plus the feelings. Like everything you do is connected to how you feel, and you can't really isolate what you do in business to how you feel. But what you can do is create mental paradigms that help strengthen the way you feel about a situation. Like Aldwyn, you had mentioned hating rejection. Well,
Yes.
business is a numbers game. And I'll give you a good analogy. So in Australia, and particularly in Queensland, so do you guys have convenience stores?
Yes. Yes. We don't call
So
them
does
convenience stores here,
Oh, what
though.
do you
They're
call them?
usually, well, we have some pit stops, or we have, um, yeah, sort of like 24/7, 7-Eleven type. I know you've got 7-Eleven
Okay.
over. We've got some
So
7-Eleven places.
so if you stand outside of one, does everybody go in and buy exactly the same thing?
No.
Do you see a lot of people going in, going out? Some people have a bunch of stuff, some people have a little stuff.
Yes, that's true.
So these pit stops, like you had mentioned, and that's important too. Like you got to align with the person you're speaking with. Like here in the United States, we call them convenience stores. In Australia, evidently, you call them pit stops. So I am aligning with you, Aldwyn. That's one thing I teach in my book and in my master class. I am aligning with you. I'm speaking the way you speak, and that's showing that like I care. Um, but again, getting back to it's a numbers game, right? Like the guy running the pit stops doesn't say, you know what, Charlotte, we didn't sell enough potato chips this weekend, or we didn't sell enough beer this weekend, or we didn't sell enough ice cream this weekend. I'm just going to close the store. Uh, I'm just frustrated. I feel so rejected. I mean, there must have been 50 people go in there, and sure, we sold some candy bars, and some people got gasoline, and some people got, I saw a couple people get chewing gum, but those people that got chewing gum didn't buy any beer. And I am just so frustrated, and this is making me very emotional. And I don't think we can run this store anymore. No, 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 no. A business person looks at the bottom line and realize it's a numbers game. And some of those people came in and they wanted chewing gum. And some of those people came in and they wanted cigarettes. And some people came in and they wanted milk and they wanted, coffee. You cannot create what people want. You have to provide what people need.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And everyone will want something different.
And you cannot to a lot of people in business, once they have some customers, they want to continue to try to oversell those customers. It's like the guy that went in and bought 2 gallons of ice cream and he's got it in his truck, and the guy that's working behind the counter gets up and walks out there with another gallon of ice cream and he's trying to sell it to him. No, that guy wanted 2 gallons of ice cream. He doesn't need 3 gallons of ice cream. Just keep your pit stop open. Let more people come in. And that's the idea behind prospecting for new customers. You got to constantly, if you're going to be successful in business, you got to keep that pit stop open. You got to let that door stay open. And what I'm trying to do is use an analogy to show that you have to constantly go after new customers and clients. And that's where sales isn't icky. It's a process. It's a system. It's a very rewarding profession where the people that want and need what you have will buy it. And the people that don't want or need what you have will not buy it. And you can't, and you will, but you got to realize that just like running the pit stop is a game, running your business is a game. And people love playing games. People hate being rejected in business. But folks, I got to be honest with you, 34 years in professional business, you're going to get rejected. You're not going to be successful with every single person. You know, some of the most successful rock bands in the world, some people hate them. But they sold gold records and platinum records. It doesn't mean they weren't successful. And that's what's key. Like, you can be a gold record and platinum record business person, but you don't have to sell to everybody.
Yes, and you don't want to sell to everyone necessarily, because we don't deal with it. No, just like they don't gel with us, we don't gel with them often, you know, and then some we do. So we get drawn and attracted to the people that we connect with with the people we've built some rapport with somewhere, or that we've connected somehow online or offline, whatever that is. And
yes,
that's what
spend time caring, right? Spend time caring.
Yes, spend time, or make time. Make time.
Yes, like most people rush. And they don't spend, like, business is only speed dating if you make it speed dating. Thoughtful business is not speed dating. Thoughtful business is reaching out with something of value, and realize that you're not speed dating, you're fishing, and you're fishing for the people that what you're offering will provide value to. And many people will understand what you're offering is a fit for them. And you can't get upset when it's not a fit for them. Just like the guy that owns the pit stop doesn't close it because he doesn't sell beer to every single person that walks in. Some people buy ice cream, some people buy candy bars, and some people buy chewing gum.
Yes. So true. And I'm sure some people in Australia do call the pit stops convenience stores. I'm sure some do call it that. I know you say gas, we say petrol here. We say thongs. We say thongs for the thongs you put on your, like, slippers, or, like, thongs, whereas you say thongs for G-strings. So there's a few different things there, which are quite hilarious. You say tomato, we say tomato.
Right.
Whatever it is, sometimes I'm actually attracted to people because of their differences. Like, I quite like the American accent. I quite like, Scottish, Irish, different accents, which of course they think we have the accent. But sometimes that can be actually quite appealing too, to have that little bit of difference as well. I mean, we have the commonality of speaking English or American, or, it's still, we understand each other, even though there's a dialect, on each of them.
Well, and the reason for that, Aldwyn, is because people, though they think they want certainty, they don't. There's a certain amount of things you want to be certain about. And I didn't create this thought process. I'm actually just a student of Tony Robbins, Tony Robbins is just a highly intelligent motivational speaker. And if you're in the way I see it, like, if I'm going to be a good motivational speaker, I have to study the greats. So I've studied, like, Tony Robbins for over 20 years. But what I'm saying is that, like, that when you think of certainty, like, everybody thinks that they want to be certain of everything. And certainly if somebody only interacts with people, like in your case, from Australia or from Queensland or from the Gold Coast of the area that you're in, or like in my case, only interacts with people from Texas or people from the United States, then there's not as much, like, uncertainty. Right? Variability, another way to say it. Like, I'm using a few different terms, kind of like on the same wavelength. But what I'm saying is, like, people want something different, right? Like, people think that they want complete certainty. Like, if you ask somebody, what's life going to be like in the next 5 years? People would like to take out a piece of paper and be able to tell you certainly exactly how life's going to be. But in all actuality, if you think about the year that you're living in, do you really want to know exactly how your year is going to turn out? Or do you want some like variability to it? Do you want some surprises? You want like, you know, something that's different going on? I'm just, you know, throwing out a few like psychological type of
Yeah.
scenarios, but people think they want certainty, and that's the thing. And like, and I'll relate it back to sales. Sales is exciting. Why sales exciting? It's uncertain. Like you have
Yeah.
no idea whether you're going to be successful or not.
True.
And that's exciting. It's like getting in an airplane. Like theoretically, you're going to land, but you could die.
Yes. Yes. Although
And
I don't think anyone's died from
that's
selling
kind of
anything.
exciting. What's that?
I don't think anyone's died from selling anything, but yeah, I mean,
No,
it does have that adventure about it.
great example, but it's kind of exciting though that like when you take off in an airplane, that you could die. Uh, People like that kind of uncertainty and excitement in their life. Like you get on a trip and and what a great example when you go on vacation, or like, do you guys say go on holiday? Is that
Yeah, we
right?
say holiday. I say holiday.
Yeah, which is what they say in England. And why do I know that? Because I'm well read. They don't say
Yeah.
that in the United States.
Yes,
But
vacation.
but anybody I've ever and that brings up another good point. Like, how do you get comfortable in sales? Get interesting. Like, you know, if you get interesting, people will be drawn to you. And it's not about trickery. It's about authentically connection. And how can you authentically connect to more people? Become well read. You know, make it a point to be educated. And I'm not saying go to college. I'm saying be educated about the world around you.
Yeah.
And if you make that a point, you'll relate to more people. And if you relate to more people, you'll sell more stuff and more services because you have relatability. And the only way to get relatability is to be more interesting, because you have to be knowledgeable about things that you know, you might not have actually had a personal experience.
Yeah, I love that. Knowledge is power. And in fact, I was just at an event last night with Gold Coast Multicultural Arts Group in collaboration called Knowledge is Power. And we had a creative writing workshop, which I just put photos up last night of that event. And it's so true that when we have more knowledge, whether it's with people from different cultures or whether it's about a certain industry or whatever, then we absolutely can become more relatable because we have the knowledge. And they say readers are leaders as well. There's another great saying, readers are leaders. And or whether you read online or offline, and there's no excuses now because we're in the, you know, the information age is like coming at us a million miles an hour of the information out there. And now Chat GPT, that's just spitting out content left, right, and center, right? With the artificial intelligence, etc. out there. So yeah, I love what you're saying, Jon.
Oh, good. Well, in your friend, give me your friend's name that's chiming in right now that's scared of sales, because I want to help her out a little bit.
Yeah, Vanessa Williamson.
Okay. So again, I want to relate to her because there was a time I was scared of sales, and probably the thing I've been most scared of recently over the last 3 years was driving a boat, because I could wreck the boat. I could sink the boat. It could cost me a bunch of money to wreck the boat or put a dent in the boat. And, but how did I overcome that? I overcame that with like mental tools and education. I took a class on how to drive the boat. I took a class on understanding the boat. I got out there and actually drove the boat, and I got educated, and I got to be honest. There are times where I'm still afraid in the boat, and I'm the captain, and that's normal. But here's how I get around it. I face the fear, I manage the risk, and I smile. And people that are boat captains know exactly what I'm talking about, because when you're coming in tough water and you're having to put the boat on the, in the slip, and there's a lot of other boats, and there's maybe a fisherman blocking your way into your slip, and, left and right, and it's pretty tough waters. I smile. And I also envision myself putting the boat in the slip. Like, I take control of the fear. I don't let the fear take control of me. I still get anxiety about it, but I make it happen. Right. In life, that's what we all got to do. And getting back to sales, think about sales like you do the pilot that pilots the plane. So did he just arbitrarily one day wake up and start, piloting a 747?
No,
No,
I hope not.
no, I hope not too. Before you get to pilot like people and things like that, you have to go tandem up in many planes with a professional pilot. You have to get coursework out of the way where you're sitting in a classroom learning about how the plane works. You have to spend hours on a smaller plane. There's just so much that goes into it before you get to pilot a plane and take the risk of all those people's lives up in the air with you. And that's how you should view your business too. Your business, if you're feeling anxiety, it's because you're not educated. And you can get educated. There's so much goodness out there. And being a sales guy, I'll just tell you, like, my book's amazing and my masterclass is amazing because I authentically put it together with 34 years of professional sales experience. And I've read over 200 books on professional sales, so you don't have to.
Wow.
You can read mine that has some of the best gold nuggets in them. And more importantly, the gold nuggets that I share have been used like in the last 5 years. It's not like they were, used 30 years ago and they might be out of vogue or something like that. No, many of them were used last week. And this is what it takes to create confidence in business. And confidence is you could still be fearful, but act in confidence. And how you act in confidence, even though you're fearful, is experience and education. And first you got to get educated, and then you have to have the experience. And the two go hand in hand. And you don't want to get in an airplane with somebody that has no experience and no
totally.
education.
Totally. And now that sounds amazing. Your website for people to find out more about your masterclasses and programs?
Oh, yeah. So it's just saleswarriorinspire.com. And Aldwyn, just so your people know, like, I'm financially independent. I don't need to work or make money. I'm financially independent. But I also want them to know that because I've made my class extremely affordable. It's a 3-day boot camp. There's over 30 hours of information, instruction, videos, audios, workbooks, the whole 9 yards. And it's $99. Like initially, I think I was told to price it at $400, but I honestly don't need the money. And if somebody buys my course, they can get my book for free. I will give them my book for free. And if they don't feel comfortable buying my course, then my book's on Amazon. It's $9 or it's $9.99.
Amazing.
And that price is never changing. You know why? Because you cannot get this information. Like, I'll give you an example. There's this guy out there. His name is Jordan Balfour. Jordan Balfour's a sales guru out there. The difference between me and Jordan is that Jordan served time in prison for defrauding people. I've never even been to a jail.
Yes. The Wolf of Wall Street. Some people might have heard that's Jordan's story.
Yeah. And nothing against him. I just think that there needs to be somebody in the world that, has never been incarcerated, that's teaching people how to professionally sell and teaching people how to authentically make a connection with somebody so that you can do business with them and feel good about it. And you can't feel good about the business unless it's good for both parties. There's no such thing as a business transaction that's only good for one party.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be win-win-win all round. And I love what you were sharing about the certainty and uncertainty. And our quick Google online, we found the 6 human needs from Tony Robbins. Certainty, it says variety here, but uncertainty I've heard. Certainty, variety, or uncertainty. Significance, connection, growth, and contribution. Now, when you make a sale, when you grow your business, all these things are at play, right? All these things are at play to some level. And I love what you said about fear too. And there's a few acronyms for fear. One is face everything and run, right, which is the negative side. And then the other one is face everything and rise. Okay,
I like it. I like what yeah, that's awesome what you put up there. So, so I just want to share one of the reasons that, because you had started off saying, hey, sales is icky. One of the reasons I called my book Sales Warrior is because a warrior is significant. And again, getting back to business, you can't have business until a sale is made.
Yes.
Like here in the United States at 7-Eleven, if 7-Eleven doesn't sell any slushies, then no business is made. And if a person doesn't sell any product, then they don't have a business. What they have is an information website.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Wikipedia for free.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, that's right. That's right.
But that's significance. Like that's what I tried to drive home with the term sales warrior. That's why I call myself sales warrior, because you got to be proud of the business that you're in. You got to believe in the value that you bring to the table. And if you believe the value that you bring to the table, then you understand the significance of what you're offering to people. It's a very, very positive thing.
Absolutely. And I love the warrior term too, because to me it says resilience. And I think in business, it's so important to be resilient and to do whatever it takes to be whoever it takes to be resilient, and actually to be able to be okay with some no's occasionally, right?
Yes.
Some people are going to say no, and that's okay, because maybe they're not your people and maybe they're better working with someone else, you know? So there's a great saying in a landmark course I did, and they talk about being committed, not attached. Be committed, not attached. Committed for what you want for your business and for your life, and not attached to how that is going to look. Hence the certainty and the variety and the significance and the connection, the growth and the contribution, right? All of it can come with business, and all of it can come with your life. And the more you grow as a person, the more your business will grow as well. So it really is very much, there's a very close correlation between the success of your business and the success in your life. Right?
Absolutely. Play the long game, not the short game. How do you hit a golf ball? You hit your driver.
Yes.
It's easier to putt, but how you cannot be a successful golfer without playing the long game. You got to have a good long game.
Yes, absolutely. Patience, persistence, resilience, all those things so important. And as we said, and Sonia says here, congratulations, Aldwyn. After 10 years, you know, this lady then said, I'm now ready to do media business with you. She's been following me for 10 years. In fact, I've known her probably actually more so 20 years.
Oh, wow.
She's been following me over the years. And similarly, another lady the other day, she'd 15 years we'd known each other, and she said, I'm now ready to work with you. That was only a month or two ago.
Okay, Aldwyn, so you've been playing the long game.
I've been playing the long game. I've been in business for 20 years. In fact, I've never been married or had kids. However, I've been in business 20 years. So this has kind of been like my marriage to my business in some ways.
Absolutely. That's cool.
And, you know, I not that, you know, I love being in a relationship. It's just, unfortunately, I haven't had the best of luck in that area. So that's a work in progress. Work in progress for that one. And I know I've had a lot of fear, a lot of trauma around that, but that's a whole other story. That's a whole other episode. You know, I do love my life regardless, whether I'm in a relationship or not in a relationship with a significant other. You know, I still have an amazing life, and I have plenty of men in my sphere who thankfully I get to enjoy some great times with. So, you know, that's the thing about, like, you look at the wheel of success in life, you look at all the different areas, the family, the health, the adventure, travel, contribution, all these things. And, you know, whenever I do my wheel of life, actually for the last year or so, I've been doing my wheel of life regularly, and I average around 8.5. 8.5 is an average score out of 10 on my wheel of life in all areas. And, you know, I think you're never going to be a 10 out of 10 in all areas. You know, there's always going to be, if you put more effort into one area, you're going to put less into another in some ways, because we can only be in so many places at once, right? However, recently I took on 5 VAs in my business, 5 assistants in my business, and now things are going next level with my business as well, because now I'm ready. I feel I'm ready too. And we've had some major planetary shifts. Awesome. We've had Jupiter go into Aquarius, or whatever it is that's been happening. So we've had some major shifts just in the last few months. And a lot of people are starting to feel the shift now. It's like, right, I'm now ready. I'm now ready to take my business and my life next level. If that's you, pop a yes in the chat. If you're now ready to take your life and your business.
Awesome. Yeah. Connect with Aldwyn. It's time to do business with her.
Yeah.
So,
Or connect
so
with Jon.
Aldwyn, I just want to reiterate to your people, we've talked about a lot of concepts today about rapport building. And, I just really want people to come back to the concept of rapport building. Just go back to the people that you connect with in life and think about the very first time you ever spent time with them. Think about that process and try to take that process that you had with these people that are really important to you today, maybe your best friend or whatever, and think about what was that aha moment, and then create that aha moment in your business life. What is it? What is it where you're going to connect with your prospect? And I don't know what it is. I don't even know what folks even do for their business. But what I'm saying is that aha moment, that's where the business is made, when you make that connection. And think about what is that aha moment where I get it. And sometimes it can just happen for you. I remember years ago, and this is just an example of an aha moment, but I was waiting tables at a restaurant when I was in 16 years old, a long time ago. And this couple were they were looking at me really strange, and I couldn't figure out why they were looking at me so strange. And they're like, "You look just like our nephew." Oh. And guess what? They gave me an amazing tip because the connection. And it was no fault of my own. I just looked exactly like their nephew. They kept looking at me like I might be their nephew. and that's the example. Another example I give, if you've ever as a woman gone somewhere and somebody's wearing the same exact top as you, has that ever happened to you, Aldwyn?
Yes, it has. And the same dress. Yes.
And have you been able to get a conversation going with that person?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we have a good laugh about it.
There you go. And why is that? Commonality and connection.
Yes.
Commonality and connection. And that's an example of a physical aha moment. It's really manifested physically in front of you. You guys actually have so much in common. You chose the same blouse or the same dress. And so you immediately have a connection because you think the same way, and you have a physical representation that you think the same way. And everybody, you got to create those aha moments where, and again, I want to reiterate, we're not trying to create we're not trying to create everybody's exactly like everybody else. You can have a connection with somebody authentically and know somebody that's exactly like your prospect, or do business with somebody that's exactly like your prospect. I'm obviously not a woman. I don't know if anybody could tell that, but I'm not.
You don't identify as a woman? You don't identify?
No, I don't. But anybody that has any uncertainty, I am not a woman. Okay, I just want to be really upfront about that. But what I'm saying is, does that keep me from not being able to make a business connection with somebody that is female? I have a lot of really strong female characters and women in my life. And women that I currently do business with. So I obviously can make connections with women, but I don't have to be. And that's what I'm trying to drive home. You don't have to be exactly like your prospect. You have to be relatable and credible and trustworthy. It's almost like if you're a Boy Scout, people will do business with you, or a Girl Scout, people do business with you. But you have to have an ethical makeup, and it has to be real. And if you have an ethical makeup and it's real, people do a lot of business with you, and you will be able to get authentic connection. But Aldwyn, I got to start my Memorial weekend here in the United States, so I definitely need to, as the captain would say, hold on.
Yes.
As the captain would say, at some point we have to leave port.
Yeah. So, yeah, I love all the different hats. You're hilarious, John. You're hilarious. I love it. I love it. I love all the different hats. And see, having people laugh, humor is a great way to build rapport too.
Yes, absolutely. Like, be lighthearted. And if
Yes.
you're having trouble being lighthearted, I have 39 hours of comedy on my international comedy podcast that Aldwyn's sharing with you. And Aldwyn is one of those hours. So if you have trouble being lighthearted, go out and listen to some comedy. It'll be good for your health too. Like
Oh, it's great.
comedy, like it's been proven, like listening to comedy will help you if you're like, suffering from a debilitating disease. I'm not saying you can get healed. I don't know. That's between you and God. I'm saying that like you can lessen the symptoms.
Yes, absolutely. And the other day actually I was at a comedy night on Friday night at a brand new brewery that is just around the corner from my place called Maddox Brewery. This really cool brewery. They have a comedy night on a Friday night, and I had the best time at this comedy night. It was so good. And I actually, if you sit at the front on a live comedy night, you always get picked out, right? They always go, right, tell me your name. What are you up to? Right. And of course,
Right, certainly.
I got picked out for that. So yes, we will wrap up soon so you can continue with your amazing night there. However, before we do,
Yeah.
just a point from Google. Dr. Google says this is how you build trust. Regularly showing someone that you're there for them through good times and bad times is an effective way to build trust. Right?
God
So
love
it's
Google.
consistency builds trust. And this is where, consistency, resilience, are you on path? If you don't really love what you do, you're not going to stick with it either in business, right? If you're just there for the money, if you're just there for the quick sale, then you're not going to stick with it. It has to be something that you love to do, that you're being of service. If the service is no good, you're not going to last in business either. So building rapport is absolutely crucial. We want to work with people that we like, that we have fun with, that we enjoy, that have similar ideas and thoughts on life. And I know, some things I say in the media, in the mass media, are quite controversial. Now, that's some things I say are going to really repel people. Like when I mention media programming, right? Media programming, some people are going to love that. And the media programs people all the time. And other people are going to think, what are you on about? You a conspiracy theorist? They're going to carry on like that, right? So, some people are people, and I respect everyone's opinions. Some people are going to gel more. You're going to have more people that love you and more people that hate you. Either way, the more you step up with your truth, with your authentic truth, it doesn't matter what other people think. It's about you being true to you. And the more you're true to you, the more you'll attract people that will be true to you, and the more you'll repel certain people that are not true to themselves, and the more you'll repel people that aren't potentially on the same wavelength, right? And everyone's on their own journey. So a little bit of a rant there on that one. Any final words before we wrap up today, John? It's been such a pleasure having you on the show. Actually, where can people get onto your podcast? Where can they get onto your amazing Schools Out 80s podcast?
Oh, yeah. So all they do is go out to YouTube, Jon Saleswarrior, and that's my YouTube channel. We'd love to have you subscribe. I think we're getting ready to have one of your friends actually be interviewed this coming month, Aldwyn. I'll have to look up her name, but she wants to come on and talk about all of her old boyfriends and all the funny escapades with her old boyfriends. So I'm just as stoked as she is for it. But I would just share with your folks that care to connect. Most people in business want to do business, but they don't care to connect. You will not do business until you connect. And again, just take it back to dating, you just want to think about it like there's never going to be a second date if you didn't make a connection on the first date. And it's all about that mental connection. The mental connection leads to the second date, just like the mental connection leads to the business. And then two, being a motivational speaker, I just share with your peeps that life is short. Think about that. And I'm not being a negative Nelly. I'm just saying life's short. I mean, I'm almost 60. I don't look it, but I'm almost 60, and life is short. And life is for living. Make that bucket list. Go out and do the things that you really want to do. Live your life to its absolute fullest, because this is the only life you get. And just really embrace it. And if ever you struggle with the fact that you're not embracing your life, go out to a nursing home and spend time with people that are stuck in a nursing home or maybe have a debilitating disease. Again, I'm not being a negative Nelly, but one of the reasons why people can't connect with realities is sometimes they don't have the proper perspective. And the only way to get the proper perspective is to see the proper reality. And the reality is there. And people that you visit in a nursing home will appreciate it because they're very lonely.
Absolutely. And a great question to ask is, how do you want people to refer to you at your funeral? What do you want people to say about you at your funeral? How do you want to be remembered at your funeral, right? And it is about all those moments of connection that we had with people. That's what people are going to share. I remember when Jon did this. I remember when Aldwyn did that. I remember when this happened. I remember there's going to be those moments of connection, those little flitting moments as we go through life. I believe, everything happens for a reason. I believe there's no coincidences. And every time we connect with someone in some way, we're either going to have them feeling happy that you came into the room or feeling happy when you leave the room, right? So there's always going to be that, are you lifting people's energy or are you bringing it down at any point? And we're going to go through these ups and downs of life. That's just the roller coaster ride of life, I believe, right?
Absolutely.
Have these experiences. And a lot of sales and business, what we're talking about today, building rapport. Now, Sonia says here it was easier. She's trying to say here it's easier with sales because of the algorithm, right? So groups are closed after a challenge or a program, Facebook group she's talking about. Now they only changed the group name, right? So I believe what she's saying there is that because of the algorithm that it can make it easier or harder for sales. Now, we can always blame something else or put the finger on something else to say that it's because of this that sales is now harder, right? Now I would say that actually adding to what Sonia says there's definitely a lot more noise on the internet. There's a lot more people on there. There's a lot more. It's people's attention span is getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And so this is where being consistent with what you're putting out is even more important nowadays, what we're talking about here, to actually build your business and build your sales and building rapport. At the end of the day, it's about who we're connecting with and how we're connecting. And you really, all of us really want to do business and hang out with people that we know, like, and trust. And
it's that simple. It is that simple. And you think about the restaurant that you want to return to. The restaurant you want to return to is giving you food that you like at a good price, and you've had a good experience.
Absolutely. And Vanessa now knows more about me. She says, I've learned so much about you, Aldwyn. Well, thank you for tuning in, Vanessa, and thank you, Sonia, and thank you for everyone else who has watched us today and tuned in. Please do connect with Jon. Once again, Jon, let us know what they're going to find at your saleswarriorinspire.com website.
Well, immediately they'll see my book, and then they can go to my course, which is called Sales Warrior Bootcamp Module 1. And again, it's a 3-day boot camp. And it is packed with so much material that really you can just sit at your leisure and take it in 30 minutes or an hour at a time, and it will give you, in my opinion, a PhD in sales business, and it's real, and I designed it to be inspiring and comical. Like, I designed it to be fun and inspiring, because being in business, you can imagine, for 34 years, like I've been, you need inspiration. We all need inspiration. I just signed up for Sylvester Stallone's inspirational podcast. So I spend money on me because why not? I mean, when I spend money on me, it just ends up making me money. And plus, if you're in business, spending money on my stuff's a tax write-off, just like me spending money on Sylvester Stallone's stuff is a tax write-off. And the reason the governments allow you to write it off is because they want you to be more successful in business. Why? Because governments want to charge you more taxes. To be successful, you can feed them to money.
Yeah.
They're all about money.
Show me the money, honey.
Yes.
And an investment in yourself is the best investment that you will ever make. And in fact, I've invested $500,000 in my personal and business development in the last 17 years.
Wow.
And I will continue to invest, actually 18 years now, since 2005. I've been investing in myself, and I continue to invest. I have multiple mentors. I continue to invest in programs, and I bring all of that to my clients and to my life. In fact, everything I've learned, which has built my resilience, has built my consistency, has built how I do life, the passion I have, the confidence I have with what I do. It's all a result of all of that time and effort and money that I have invested in myself. And so I love that, Jon. I think it's so crucial.
Well, then, Aldwyn, after you get off, you can get my class. And after you take my class, we will do an interview on how much you liked my class.
I'd love to do your class. I'd love to do, and it's such a bargain too on there. So that's amazing.
Yeah. It's a daddy of a deal. And yeah,
check it out.
It is. And really, I do it because I'm trying to give back.
Yeah, beautiful.
Like, being financially independent is a it's a thin sense of accomplishment. People coming up to me and quoting chapters out of my book, which I've had professional salespeople quote chapters out of my book, or me getting to go online to Amazon and see where like some sales guys said how much they really enjoyed my book and how much they got out of it, or somebody really got a lot out of my masterclass and helped to change their life. Now that jazzes me. And I can't put a dollar amount on something that jazzes me like that. Like who gets the most out of some of my broadcasts that I do? I'm going to say me. Like I love going in and getting to listen to stuff that I've done because, I feel like God wants me to do it.
That's beautiful. I love that. And, it's funny when people say, what are you going to do when you retire? It's like, well, the way you know that you're on path is, I will be doing what I'm doing until the day I die because I love doing it. I love doing what I'm doing, right? And in fact, like yourself, I'm also financially independent. I have assets.
Awesome.
I have other ways to make money. I don't need to be in business, but I do it because I love it. And
that's awesome, Aldwyn.
What do you do? What do you do right now that, that you love? Are you doing what you love that you would do it till the day you die? Or perhaps is it time to reconsider, my friends, reconsider some of the things you're doing to focus more on what you love, more on what you're in flow doing. That's really the trick, to be in the zone, to be in flow. And please connect with me too. I'd love to stay connected with all of you beautiful people. My links are all on linktree/Aldwyn, linktr.ee/Aldwyn. We have the Global Good News Challenge for the May challenge. We're giving away a $400 Tester Power pack. It's a amazing pack of goodies where you can fast charge your phones and your devices. Thanks to Jeff Tester from Tester Power, we've got that amazing $400 pack to give away as a physical pack, which we will send anywhere in the world. And that is for those who do the May Global Good News Challenge. And for the challenge that gets the most likes, comments, shares, we are going to be giving you that pack for May. Okay, and then June, next month, we have a 3rd year anniversary of the Global Good News Challenge, which is free. It's all about celebrating the good in life, celebrating the good news, sharing gratitude online. If you're sick of all the negative media, this is a way that you can be the change you wish to see in the world. And you'll find that link on my link tree there, linktree/Aldwyn. Go to the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page. Pinned to the top is all the details. 5-day challenge for May. You've got a few days you can start. We're up 29th of May here in Australia, 28th of May in the US. So before the end of May, you could start your 5-day live video challenge. Takes about 3 minutes to do in each challenge, so you don't need to overcomplicate it. Just check out the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page. Everyone who does the challenge too is free marketing for you. We will promote your challenge out to thousands of people, and we will also add you to a private group of all the other good news crusaders around the world who are all out to shift the way we do life, lift the energy on the planet, decrease depression and suicide rates. That's what it's all about. So thank you so much for joining us, Jon. Thank you so much. Any final words before we wrap up? Any favorite quotes you want to share with us, mottos, etc., before we wrap up today?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm a man of few words, but I must I must cast off. But I will be available and can't wait to get to listen to the final product. So everybody have a wonderful rest of your evening, day, wherever you are in the world.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That was amazing. Jon Sansone, the Sales Warrior. You can check him out once again here at saleswarriorinspire.com. And warrior, I'll just spell that out for you for those listening to the podcast later. Sales, SALES, warrior, WARRIOR, Inspire, INSPIRE.com. You will be able to check out Jon there. Check out his YouTube channel as well. And if you haven't checked out my YouTube channel, have a look at Media Queen TV. We've got about 900 videos on there. I actually look back at some of the old videos today. I started the channel back in 2015, and with 900 or so videos, there's lots of great content on there. Media Queen TV on YouTube, inspiring truth and good news. And you can connect with me. All my links are at Linktree, linktr.ee/Aldwyn. That's Linktree, linktr.ee/Aldwyn. Thank you so much for everyone who's joined us on the live stream as well. And if you're watching the replay, please let us know, what did you enjoy from this episode today? Let us know something you've learned from today. Love to see your comments in the chat there. And stay connected with Jon or myself. And we have another Media Queen TV episode coming up in just a few hours, which is also going to be brilliant. So stay tuned. We'll be announcing that shortly, and look forward to a beautiful day ahead, or a beautiful night wherever you are in the world. As Gandhi says, be the change you wish to see in the world. Sending you lots of love. Mwah. Have a wonderful time. We'll see you again at our next show here on Media Queen TV. Lots of love. Bye for now.